Hello, everybody. It is now Thursday, and it's a big sports day for any football fan. The NFL draft kicking off tonight at 7 p.m. We have a couple of Razorback hopefuls, and that's something we're going to dive into, who are hoping to hear their names called over the 3-day period. Of course, the draft, first round's tonight, second round is tomorrow, and then rounds, the last rounds, I think it's, or second and third round are tomorrow. 4 through 7 are on Saturday. I'm Nick Petraccione here in the Pig Trail Nation studios, bringing you a live report. Thanks everyone for joining in, tuning in when you can. If you're on your lunch breaks right now or just have a second in the day, we're going to be breaking down, focusing on two athletes that we didn't cover yesterday in our Facebook Live. We mentioned Rakeem Boyd and dove in a lot about him, the Arkansas running backs. We're going to talk about two more Arkansas football players, Felipe Franks and Jonathan Marshall, who we're going to kind of break down their draft stock, where we think they're going to go, what we've seen from them, and where people are kind of selecting them, good spots for them to land. So any questions you have, or just to say hello, make sure to type them into the comments section, and we'll get this underway. And, I always like, the one thing I like to do on Thursdays is when, I love trivia. I used to always go to trivia at nights and have friend group go and play trivia on Thursdays. So on Thursdays on here, I want to play Pig Trail Trivia. And we have a couple of trivia questions that we're going to see if you guys can answer based on NFL football, specifically when it comes to the Razorbacks. So I see we got about 40 people in here. So I'm actually going to queue up the first question. Why not? We have two of them today. They're hopefully pretty easy. And then just type your answer into the comment section. We'll have to see if some can get it right. William, hey, welcome back, William. I remember you from yesterday. Lunch, it's 2:40. Well, I start my day here at like 1:30. So for me, 2:40 is still lunchtime. So to me, it's still kind of the morning in terms of a work day, William. So for maybe not for everybody, I work on a weird schedule. All right, William, let's see if you can get this, because I know you're in here a lot, so we're going to test some of your fandom. Corey Work says, pulling for all Hogs. Yeah, big weekend, Corey, for everyone in LSU. All the Hogs are in LSU. Something we'll go over right at the end of the show. We got baseball at LSU, softball traveling to LSU this weekend. The track teams are at the LSU Invitational. So a lot of Razorbacks in Baton Rouge that hopefully going to have some success over there. But let's cue this up. This is your first trivia question of the day. Consider we have NFL draft kicking off here. It's 3 o'clock. We got it in 4 hours. So the question is, William, Corey, maybe you can have an answer for this. How many Arkansas Razorbacks have been drafted in program history? I have it plus or minus 5. That's your kind of range, but I'll bump it to 10. That just shows you how many people have been drafted, a lot over the years. Remember, this goes back a very long way. So that's the first one. How many Arkansas Razorbacks have been drafted in program history? It's actually it's more than I would have expected. It's a lot. So we'll see if you guys can get that. We'll pull the answer up. But as we kind of go through this, we're going to be chatting with the three that we hope are going to get drafted. Felipe Franks, a quarterback. Jonathan Marshall, a defensive lineman. And then Rakeem Boyd, a running back. We have some Arkansas State hopefuls that also could get drafted. If they don't, free agency contracts that might land their way. And I think that goes for everyone in this draft. If you don't see Felipe Franks or Jonathan Marshall or Rakeem Boyd get selected, you could see them landing free agency deals very quickly. Those turn around right at the end of the draft on Saturday when that draft, and I think it kicks off the Saturday rounds 4 through 7, kick off around 11 a.m. Central Time. So you'll see, when that draft concludes, that's a long way. You will see a lot of free agents get scooped up that night and the next morning. Well, my mom actually commented 53. Mom, you are wrong. I'm sorry. That is way off. 53 is way off the mark on how many Arkansas Razorbacks are there. Thank you from New York. She's commenting from. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We got Mother's Day coming up here, not so in the future, so I gotta keep that on my mind, right? That's the most important thing. We'll go on the answer. It's actually 269 total draftees in Arkansas Razorback history have ever been drafted. So for those who might have been watching after. I know a lot of people actually watch these videos after we conclude. So if you are one of the few who, or one of the most who are watching after, if you got that, great job. If you were plus or minus 10, 269. We're going to queue up. We'll erase these. I love how I can do this. Erase these, and we'll give you a little taste of the next trivia question. Who was the last Arkansas football player selected in the first round of the NFL draft? We'll get to that later. That's the next trivia question for you guys. Oh my gosh, I didn't scroll down. I missed a lot of comments. Corey said 33. Corey, you also were about 230 off. Marlon saying for Felipe Franks, either going to the Patriots or the Cowboys and the 5th or 6th round. I think you're right about the day 3. Who knows? I mean, the Patriots, yeah, they could use a quarterback, right? They just signed Cam Newton again, and it's kind of another 1-year prove-it deal. So that they could be looking for some depth at that position. Cowboys, obviously, Dak Prescott's always banged up, and Andy Dalton's now left, so there is some holes there. Yeah, Corey. Wow, right? 269. Would you believe that? That's a huge number. I can't believe I missed some of your answers. I didn't scroll down in the comment bar, so sorry for getting to you guys that late. But it's a lot. 269 is no joke for how many Arkansas Razorbacks have been drafted out of this program. That doesn't just count how many have gone to the league. That's just how many have actually been drafted. William, and the next question, you might have that. You might have that squared away. So we'll get to that in a second, but let's just go quickly and start talking about those draftees. Marlon, you mentioned Felipe Franks, so let's chat about him. Quarterback out of Arkansas, and I have his pro day numbers that he pulled up. Let me run through just kind of what this pro day looked like for him. And I know a lot of people talk about wingspan, arm span for quarterbacks, so he's got a 34-inch arm, wingspan 82. His hands are 9 5/8 inches. If you really care about that breakdown, I know some people do when they're talking about like Russell Wilson and quarterbacks having smaller hands. He's fine. This guy's he's a big quarterback. Got a good vertical jump. Had a really quick 40-yard dash in his pro day. 4.55, 4.65 were his. That's Jalen Hurts speed. If you want to compare that to a quarterback in the league right now, Jalen Hurts speed is kind of what Felipe Franks is running. Let's actually pull up a little bit of his pro day video as we were just talking about it. So this was him a few months ago competing in his pro day with a few Arkansas Razorbacks. This is a guy that Todd McShay just recently labeled as the 239th best prospect out of the top 350 on his draft board. Of course, Todd McShay, a college football analyst at ESPN. He has Franks as the number 11 available quarterback. His grade as a 37. He says he's got a big-time arm, but he lacks ideal release quickness, but makes up for it with ball velocity. So his final evaluation you can find in our article on Pig Trail Nation, nwahomepage.com. You can run through what we saw. Todd McShay's final thoughts on Felipe Franks, as like we mentioned, could be a day 3 guy, looking like that's kind of where a lot of these Arkansas Razorbacks will fall. But hey, if you're the number 11 quarterback available and people need some depth, and people could take a chance on a guy that, hey, maybe they can develop. And especially when you have great speed like that, you see the RPO game a lot more in the NFL. You see these dual threat quarterbacks succeeding a lot more. That really helps Felipe Franks' game if you're running a 4.55. Just impressive speed out of that position that some people might want to get onto their team. So hold on, let me pull back up the comments if anyone's. Yeah, Corey says, I love Felipe. Yeah, I think a lot of people are rooting for him, right? It's going to be exciting to see where he goes. It's such a heavy quarterback draft. I mean, you're talking about the first 6 picks in the draft. I mean, obviously we're all focused on the first 3 when you have Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones and where the heck's Justin Fields going to land. But then you dip down, and it's always really fun to see where some other guys that had great seasons, where they will fall. And if you can find a Tom Brady in the rough, I know that's always a tough example to use, considering just how amazing a career he's had. But Felipe Franks looking like and I think Todd McShay kind of is spot on the money, where you're going to see a kind of a day 3 guy, kind of the bottom board in terms of out of the top 350 prospects in the 200s there, a guy that should be taken on Saturday. And I think that's the big thing for Arkansas fans, is that's the day to watch. We're all gonna watch the NFL draft tonight. I am. I know if you have some time at 7 o'clock is when it kicks off. I don't think any Razorbacks get taken in the first round. Day 2, I think Saturday is the biggest draft day for Arkansas. William actually asking his own trivia question: who was the highest drafted football Hog ever? Let's see. He's calling on you guys. So we got what? How many people in here? Let's see if you guys can have it. We have 33, William. So I appreciate the trivia question in the comments. That's a good one. I have the whole draft board picked up, so we can verify your answer. Let's move on to the next guy. So Felipe Franks, and also we're going to just cover Jonathan Marshall and Felipe Franks today. If you want to talk about Rakeem Boyd, we did a whole interview with him yesterday. It's on our website right now, pigtrailnation.com. And if you want to also watch the Facebook Live we did strictly around Rakeem Boyd yesterday, you can cue that up in our videos right here on Facebook. Norman saying McCann was the highest drafted Hog ever. We'll check that in just a little bit. But let's move on to the next Hog. Jonathan Marshall. Now, this guy, we talk about how good of a pro day Felipe Franks had. This guy blew me out of the water with his pro day. Another kind of day 3 guy that we're looking at defensive line. Everyone I've talked to says he's just a great guy to be around and a really good person off the field as well as on. So when I look at his numbers, and I'm sorry I'm looking at more of the other screen just because I have so many facts and figures up. I want to pull up Jonathan Marshall's. He clocked in at 6'3", 310 at his pro day, and the one thing, I'll show you the video, and Tara Talmadge was laughing because the first 20 seconds of my video that I'm going to show you guys is just bench pressing, because this guy did 36 bench press reps at his pro day. If you look at the 2020 draft class that had like guys like Chase Young in it, he blew those guys out of the water, had 3 more reps than the entire 2020 draft class in terms of bench pressing. He was the tied second in that category for this round of draftees. Obviously, they didn't have a combine. It was all separated with COVID, so everyone did pro days as their combine days. So I know figures were rolling in throughout the summer, or throughout the spring, excuse me, for that. But as far as I know, he has the second best bench, 36 compared to 40. Had a great vertical jump, 32, 40-yard dash, 4.75. That's probably faster than I could run a 40. And he's 310 pounds. He's like 2 of me, and he's running that quick. That's and that's what you need. It's a fast time. And that's kind of where edge rushers are going towards defensive line. You got to be quicker off those edges. Those guys, I always say, defensive ends and tackles are some of the most athletic guys on the field, just because as football is evolving, they are becoming some of the faster players, especially for their size. So 4.75 to 4.90 was his kind of unofficial and official times. This is the video. Just watch. I mean, he's just, it's like it's nothing. It's like he's lifting air. That's 225. It's just, I think that tells you the size and the strength that Jonathan Marshall has. This goes on for about 20 seconds, and then I cut it short because I didn't want to show you guys 20 more seconds of this. But the power and obviously a big body that can move is very appealing. This is a guy that when we look, and we'll reference Todd McShay again, he has Marshall as the 243rd best prospect in the draft out of 350 with a grade of 38, the 16th best defensive tackle in the draft by ESPN's Todd McShay. Says Marshall has a good combination of height, bulk, and speed, good initial quickness, and is best suited to play the 3 technique in a 4-3 scheme with an ability to create initial penetration. He seems to really like him as a low-level kind of guy, a steal of the draft round, could be a round 5, 6, 7 guy, but something that Todd McShay had a lot of, in his final evaluation, had a lot of really good things to say. Sorry if I'm lacking on the comments, guys. I'm going to check on you right quick. Everyone, I see a lot of people talking about former draftees, Darren McFadden, but the first 4th overall pick, McFadden. I see a lot of people answering Williams' question, which is really awesome. I'm excited to see everyone try to chiming in, and I see some old names here. I love that you guys are having a discussion. William, thank you so much for igniting it. Let's go to this. Now that everyone's talking about trivia questions in the comments, we'll go to this one. This is the question we will focus on. Who was the last Arkansas football player selected in the first round of the NFL draft. I know you guys are talking about who was the highest, but can you name who was the last first round draft pick? 2018. And if, well, okay, Alyssa in the background, I don't know if you can hear her. This mic's actually really sensitive. Hey, you never know, Alyssa. You never know. But, well, last time I made it too hard, you got mad at me. So we're going to make it a little easier this time. So for if you're a lot of people watching it out, this on replay and not live, I'll give you a couple of seconds. You can pause the video as well, and we will reveal the answer. So I know William way back in the comments, I see a lot of comments. So William actually had it right. So it was Frank Ragnow. 2018, pick number 20 to the Detroit Lions, was the last first rounder drafted in Arkansas Razorback history. And I have a bunch of names. I see, yeah, in 2008, McFadden drafted 4th overall. I'm going to run through, William. We're going to check your trivia question just to make sure you were right in terms of who was the highest ever. In 1983, you had Billy Ray Smith drafted in the 5th overall pick to the Chargers. You had Dan Hampton in 79, drafted 4th overall to the Bears. So there's a tie there. So I think we're just rolling through the answers. I get this right on ArkansasRazorbacks.com. They have a whole draft board of people you can, of all those 269 Arkansas Razorbacks that were selected. So I think that is it. I think it's those. Oh, there it is. Here it is. 1940. Kay Eakin. Pittsburgh. At that time, hold on a second. Pittsburgh Pirates. It was a halfback. Oh, man. You know what? This is crazy. 1940. First round, 3rd overall pick. Kay Eakin. A halfback drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm not even, that's the name. I have to check that history if Pittsburgh was named the Pirates back in 1940. But hey, if anyone had that in the Facebook comments, that's coming off of ArkansasRazorbacks.com. So William, to answer your question, I think that's it. 1940, pick number 3, Kay Eakin, highest overall Arkansas Razorback drafted into the NFL. But at that time, probably not named the NFL. I know there was a lot of switching up of leagues. Now, I know we talked about really early in this Facebook Live, someone said that go Hogs, everyone today this weekend, because we have a busy schedule in Baton Rouge. Baseball at LSU. They start tomorrow at 6 p.m. on SEC Network. Softball team starting Saturday at 6 as well. They're going to be playing on ESPN2. Oh, William, did I skip one? 1954, Lamar McCann. So I was scrolling through a lot of names really quickly because I didn't want to see you guys, didn't want you guys to see me look at a computer screen for 2 minutes as I was looking through. But if 1954 is the answer, let me scroll quick to 1954. Maybe you got me stumped. I wouldn't have known the answer. Oh, you're right. Lamar McCann. Yeah, there it is, to the Chicago Cardinals. You are right. That's a great question. That's a great question. Thank you, William. Number 2 overall to the Chicago Cardinals. Brenton, yes, they were the Pirates back then. I'm a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's really cool. Well, you never know what's going to happen. Maybe one of them this year lands into your Steelers there, Brenton. So I know you'll be watching maybe the rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday. Very cool. Thank you, William, for that question. Obviously, track. Let's get back to this graphic. Track at the LSU Invitational. The women on LSU ranked number 1, Razorbacks number 2. So that's going to be a really exciting meet to see the 2 best track teams in the country square off together. So a big weekend. Dwayne, how you doing, Dwayne? Thank you for tuning in. Beat LSU week. I guess that's what it is, right? It's kind of an invasion over there into Louisiana of Arkansas fans. So I know if you come away with a clean sweep, not just in your individual sports, but in your athletic department as a whole, you're going to be a really happy Razorback fan coming at the end of this weekend. Obviously, baseball plays Friday through Sunday. Softball will play Saturday through Monday, and then that invitational for track all day Saturday. Sorry, excuse me. But the men also playing there. I think the men are ranked 13th on the track team, or 12. It's 12. So it's going to be really exciting. We'll have all that coverage on our shows throughout the weekend. But the big thing today, obviously, NFL draft, tuning in at 7 o'clock if you're going to be watching it. the big day for Arkansas fans is going to be on Saturday when we see those 4 through 7s. Now, for the breakdown of all these guys, you can visit our Pig Trail Nation website, nwahomepage.com, or you can also visit our hogville.net app. Otis Kirk has broken down some of those evaluations from ESPN for all those Arkansas guys, not just the Razorbacks. We had some Arkansas State guys who had some evaluations that you can also read too. Because if you don't have Insider at ESPN, you got to pay for it. We have it free right on our website that Otis did some write-ups for. So that's where we're going to be looking at. Saturday rolls around. We're going to be telling you guys who got drafted and to where. We'll hop right back on one of these. Tomorrow, we're going to be back on this talking baseball as the Razorbacks open up their series against LSU. Last sweep in Baton Rouge came in 2004, so it should be a really fun series to see if Arkansas can do something that hasn't been done in nearly 2 decades. So that'll going to wrap us up for all this. Again, check our websites. We have the full interview with Rakeem Boyd. I know we didn't touch on him today, but we did touch on him yesterday in our live, so you can go back and watch all of his stuff. But that's going to wrap it up today for this PTN update. Appreciate everyone for joining us.
Thanks for watching this Pig Trail Nation report.